Coco Gauff just broke 4 records in her Australian Open first-round match against Kamilla Rakhimova. 75 career Grand Slam wins. 22 straight victories against non-top 50 players at majors. A 23-4 first-round record, and her 7th consecutive Australian Open appearance at just 21 years old. The stats are insane, but the serving struggles? Still very much alive and causing drama. Which record is most impressive? 75 Grand Slam wins at 21, or that 22-match streak against lower-ranked opponents? Tell us below.
It's will, and also a little bit of wingspan as well from Gauff.
Coco Gauff opened her 2026 Australian Open campaign with a 6-2, 6-3 victory over Kamilla Rakhimova. And while the scoreline looks routine, the match was anything but simple. Yes, Gauff dominated from the baseline with her incredible court coverage and defensive skills. Yes, she won in straight sets without too much drama. But she also served 3 double faults in her opening service game, failed to serve out the match at 5-2 in the second set, and had to break Rakhimova's serve for the 6th time just to close things out. That's peak Coco Gauff right now. Absolutely dominant in so many aspects of her game, while simultaneously wrestling with serving demons that refuse to go away, no matter how much work she puts in. Records because they're genuinely impressive. 75 career Grand Slam wins at 21 years old is absurd. To put that in perspective, most players don't accumulate 75 Grand Slam match wins in their entire careers. Gauff has done it before turning 22. She's been competing at the highest level since she was a teenager, and the wins just keep piling up. The consistency is what stands out. She's not just showing up and hoping for the best, she's winning matches she's supposed to win, which is harder than it sounds. The 22 consecutive victories against players ranked outside the top 50 at Grand Slams proves this point. When Gauff faces lower-ranked opponents at majors, she doesn't mess around. She gets the job done. There's no complacency, no taking opponents lightly. She understands that Grand Slam tournaments are won by handling business in the early rounds, and that's exactly what she does. Her 23-4 first-round record at Grand Slams is equally ridiculous. 4 losses in 27 first-round matches. That's an 85% win rate in a round where nerves, rust, and unfamiliarity can cause upsets. Gauff has figured out how to navigate first-round jitters better than almost anyone on tour. She doesn't overthink it. She doesn't put unnecessary pressure on herself. She just plays her game and trusts that her level is good enough to advance. And the fact that this is her 7th consecutive Australian Open appearance at 21 years old shows the longevity she's already building. Most players her age are just establishing themselves on tour. Gauff has been a fixture at major tournaments for 7 straight years. That's a full presidential term of Grand Slam consistency. But let's talk about the elephant in the room. The serve, the double faults, the struggles that have plagued Gauff for months and show no signs of disappearing despite bringing in biomechanics specialist Gavin McMillan to completely rebuild the motion. Gauff's first moment on Rod Laver Arena this year was participating in the one-point slam, a promotional event where players hit one serve trying to win a prize. Gauff's serve went straight into the bottom of the net. Not close, not barely missing, just a complete dump into the net that immediately eliminated her. That's the kind of omen that would make most players want to crawl into a hole. Then the match started, and Gauff's opening service game featured 3 double faults. 3 in one game. That's the kind of start that can completely derail a match if you let it get in your head. But Gauff somehow found a way to hold serve in that game, which might have been the most important hold of the entire match because it proved to herself that she could survive even when the serve was betraying her. The fact that Gauff can win matches despite serving issues is a testament to how good the rest of her game has become. Her forehand, which used to be a liability, is now a genuine weapon. She's hitting it with more pace, more spin, and more confidence than ever before. Her backhand has always been world-class, one of the best in women's tennis. And her defensive skills and court coverage are legitimately unmatched. She tracks down shots that should be winners and turns defense into offense better than anyone on tour. Against Rakhimova, Gauff's baseline dominance was on full display. She completely outmatched the Uzbek player from the back of the court, using her speed to extend rallies and her shot selection to dictate when it mattered. Rakhimova, who switched nationalities from Russia to Uzbekistan this year, simply didn't have the firepower or consistency to hang with Gauff once the rallies got extended. Gauff's ability to choose her moments is what separates her from other defensive players. She doesn't just retrieve balls and hope her opponent misses. She waits for the right opportunity, steps inside the baseline, and takes control of the point. That aggressive mindset within a defensive framework is what makes her so difficult to beat. The match should have ended at 5-2 in the second set when Gauff served for it. But she couldn't close. The serving issues reared their head again, and suddenly Rakhimova had broken back and the match was 5-3. For a brief moment, you could see the frustration on Gauff's face. Here we go again. Another service game falling apart at the worst possible time. But Gauff's mental toughness showed up when it mattered. She immediately broke Rakhimova's serve for the 6th time in the match to close things out 6-3. No panic, no spiral, just a quick reset and getting the job done. That's championship mentality. Things go wrong, you fix them immediately, you move on. In her post-match interview, Gauff was refreshingly honest about managing first-round nerves and expectations. I have lost in first rounds before, and I've always been able to pick it up, so I try not to put so much pressure on myself in the first rounds. I think at this point, I just want to win the tournament, so whether I lose first round or in the final, I think that will be as satisfying. So, until then, it's okay. That's an interesting philosophy. She's essentially saying that anything less than winning the title feels like failure to her now, so losing in the first round versus losing in the final carries the same emotional weight. That's the mindset of someone who's already won Grand Slams and knows what it takes. She's not here to make the quarterfinals and call it a successful tournament. She's here to win the whole thing. The past 5 months have been fascinating for Gauff's development. After her serve completely capitulated during the summer, she made the bold decision to split with coach Matt Daly and bring in Gavin McMillan specifically to rebuild the serve from scratch. She did this right before the US Open, which is insane timing. Most players would wait until the offseason to make such a significant change. Gauff decided she couldn't wait. The serve was that broken. She spent the past 5 months remodeling the entire motion, trying to streamline it and make it more reliable. The results have been mixed. Sometimes the serve looks smooth and effortless. Other times, like in her opening service game today, it looks like a complete disaster. The inconsistency is frustrating because you can see glimpses of what the serve could become, but it's not there yet on a reliable basis. The good news is that Gauff has enough other weapons in her game to win matches, even when the serve isn't clicking. The bad news is that against the absolute best players in the world, the serve becomes more critical. You can't afford to give free points away with double faults against Aryna Sabalenka or Iga Świątek. Those players will punish you mercilessly. Gauff's next opponent is Olga Danilovic, who just defeated Venus Williams in the first round. Danilovic is a solid player who can be dangerous on her day, but she's not in the same tier as Gauff. This should be another match where Gauff's baseline dominance carries her through even if the serve continues to struggle. The real test will come if Gauff advances deep into the tournament and starts facing top 10 opponents. Can she win a Grand Slam with a serve that's still a work in progress? She did it at the French Open last year, so it's clearly possible. But Melbourne's faster hard courts put more premium on serving than Roland Garros' slower clay courts. The serve becomes even more important here. One thing that stood out in Gauff's post-match comments was her focus on winning the tournament rather than just advancing round by round. That's the mentality shift that happens when you've already won majors. You're not satisfied with deep runs anymore. You're not excited about making the semifinals. You want the title, period. Everything else feels incomplete. That mindset can be both a blessing and a curse. It's a blessing because it keeps you motivated and hungry. You're never satisfied, always pushing for more. It's a curse because it can create unnecessary pressure and make losses feel more devastating than they should. Losing in the 4th round to a great player after a tough match should feel different than losing in the first round to someone ranked outside the top 100. But in Gauff's mind, both represent failure to achieve the ultimate goal. The records Gauff broke in this first-round match are impressive, but they also highlight how much she's accomplished at such a young age. 75 Grand Slam wins before turning 22 is the kind of stat that puts her in rarefied company historically. The The 22-match winning streak against non-top 50 players at majors shows consistency and professionalism. The 23-4 first-round record demonstrates mental toughness in moments where many players crumble. And the 7th consecutive Australian Open appearance is particularly notable because it represents sustained excellence over a long period. Gauff isn't a one-year wonder. She isn't a flash in the pan. She's been at the elite level of women's tennis for 7 straight years, competing with the best players in the world and holding her own. The serving struggles are frustrating to watch because everything else in her game is so polished. The footwork is elite, the shot selection is smart, the court coverage is unmatched, the mental game is strong. If she could just find consistency with the serve, she'd be almost unbeatable. But tennis doesn't work that way. Everyone has weaknesses. Even the greatest players have aspects of their game that let them down at crucial moments. What's encouraging is that Gauff is willing to address her weaknesses head-on. She didn't ignore the serving problems and hope they'd go away. She brought in a specialist. She rebuilt the motion. She's putting in the work. The results haven't fully materialized yet, but the process is sound. Eventually, with enough repetition and fine-tuning, the serve should become more reliable. The Australian Open represents a huge opportunity for Gauff. She's never won this tournament. She's never even made the final. Her best result in Melbourne is reaching the semifinals. If she can put together a strong 2 weeks here, avoid the top seeds until the later rounds, and find some consistency with the serve, she could absolutely win this thing. The draw will matter, the matchups will matter, and most importantly, whether the serve holds up under pressure will matter. But Gauff has proven time and again that she can find ways to win even when things aren't perfect. That's what champions do. They figure it out, they adapt, they overcome. Coco Gauff just made history with 4 records in 1 match, but the serve issues remain a serious concern. If you think she wins the Australian Open despite the serving struggles, smash that like button. If you believe the double faults will cost her against elite opponents, hit subscribe and tell us when she falls. Either way, Gauff's tournament is must-watch tennis.